I don't believe in this day and age should be in war over what's been happening now. We got to start working together. So I'm a peace man anyway. But the deals, like what Larry just said, it's all about money, and you got billionaires playing games with people's lives. The billions of dollars being spent, or the billions of dollars that we lost, and they really don't care. I just look at the loss of life and the loss of people having a place that they call their own home. They've been
Right.
battling for years. The Jews, and this war has been going on for a long time, and it's time to settle.
Welcome to Third Side Convo with your host, Bob Phipps. Your panelists today are Don Thomas, Jeff Klein, Michelle Walters, and Larry Haber. And now, your host, Bob Phipps.
Tonight, we're not talking about Israel versus Palestine. We're going to go inside Israel itself. We've got two proud Zionists, both who love their country, both want peace, but they can't agree on what peace even means. Now, both agree Hamas is an obstacle to peace, but who can make them go away? The IDF has spent 2 years, and Hamas is still killing Palestinians today. If Israel shouldn't go back into Gaza, who will they listen to? Who can stand up to them and win? And how do the Palestinians and their friends on the left finally get their two-state solution that leaves behind a secure Israel? That's the fault line inside Israel, and maybe the real story behind every failed peace deal. This isn't cable news. It's Third Side Convo. Let's get right into it. So, Jeff, what is your thinking on what needs to be done differently than what's happening right now? Wasn't this a huge win?
Well, yeah, it's a huge win. All the living hostages are home. That's a giant win. But it's not enough, and we need to. There's a what's next. That's got to be better than Hamas killing people in the street.
Okay, so and we had 2,000 Palestinians returned as a trade for the 20 hostages. Larry, what's your opening view on the peace deal?
Well, the peace deal has only happened because you do it incrementally. Like, you have to think in terms of years and decades, and unless you can think long term, you don't really get there. That's why I've been a big supporter of Trump in this instance. Because
I couldn't go 5 minutes.
Nope, had to do it. Had to do it and get it out front.
Well, you could say this administration. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but no, this one person has made all of this happen because he can see a deal that matures in 10 or 20 years, because that's how real estate is done. And no matter what you say about people and everything else, it still comes down to money more than anything else. And where there's enough money, look at the three guys that head up Hamas. Each of them is a billionaire. I'm sure they got that at the candy store on the corner.
Wow, great thoughts. Now for our non-Zionist panel that want to understand more. Donnie, let's start with you. What's your view of the whole peace deal?
Well, I'm for peace, period, of all the things. I don't believe in this day and age should be in war over what's been happening now. We got to start working together. So I'm a peace man anyway. But the deals, like what Larry just said, it's all about money, and you got billionaires playing games with people's lives. The billions of dollars being spent, or the billions of dollars that we lost, and they really don't care. I just look at the loss of life and the loss of people having a place that they call their own home. They've been battling for years. The Jews, and this war has been going on for a long time. It's time to settle that. Hey, these people have their land, we have our land, and let's go from there. And then once that's over, then they can go back and making the money. But I'm for it.
Exactly. All right, perfect, Don. All right, Michelle, your opening thoughts.
No, my opening thoughts are, this is really truly a monumental event. This is a historic feat that our current administration has been able to accomplish. This is something that has been in the works from various other previous administrations that have been unsuccessful. And I look at this as in terms of this is like where the moons are aligning, where all of the pieces are finally coming into place. When you look at, the Abraham Accord, and you're looking at a lot of the various different communications and on which our current administrations have made with the various other important players in the Middle East, and within Egypt, and a lot of the Arab countries, to where they're able to create such a stronghold to where actually everybody, as a whole nation, as a whole world, actually finally took this seriously. And I think that without our current administration and the strength that they currently have and the steps that they have taken, this would have never been accomplished, to where these 20 live soldiers came home.
Yeah.
And these people have been waiting for them forever. I mean,
Right.
This is a beautiful, beautiful event.
All right, Jeff, what's the downsides here? Is there anything? What do we got to worry about?
Well, what's the downside? Well, like I said, Hamas is shooting people in the street right now as we speak because the Israeli army withdrew. I mean, that's not a good situation. I know there's other people to the left of me cheering that the army's gone, and in one sense, we're all glad that the army's gone, and everybody's glad that the hostages are home. But how many murderers are now in Gaza that were in jail after this deal?
Yeah.
And what are we going to do about these people murdering Palestinians who just disagree with them in the streets? That has to stop.
Yeah, I thought that was an amazing sight to see that the day after the peace, or a couple days after the peace deal, to see that execution. Larry, jump in on that one.
Unbelievable.
Well, simply, Hamas is not there to be trusted, never will. And if you follow it from the ultimate religious standpoint, which they do, you can say or do anything to anybody as long as your cause is justified. And that is not a Judeo-Christian ethic, and we don't think that way. The first thing you have to do is understand how things work there. Clans and religion and all sorts of things that are so foreign to us, we can't talk at the same level. I'd like for people to understand that.
Well, my question though is, it's when they were sitting there and talking about the various different peace deals and bringing the different entities to the table. One of the biggest critics that I heard was that some of the Gaza people, that they didn't necessarily have a say, nor did Hamas have a seat at the table, nor should they, but in order to create peace, try to extend an olive branch, how do you do that, with terrorists? To where you make them feel important, but technically they aren't.
That could have been done. That's why they gave up, because they were overpowered and they couldn't see an end in sight where they live. So they had to, and they were finally getting pressured by the other Arab nations. So they had to give the hostages back at this point. They had no choice.
But then why still continue killing, though? If you already have that stronghold on them.
Because nobody's stopping them.
They don't think that the U.S. Our current administration has come in and had a very strong hold, things, stating that we're not going to.
America's never going to send troops there.
How about just the moral imperative? We always forget that it's just easy to say.
The problem is, I think the whole thing in the past years, what's been happening is the people in charge, Yahoo and who. I think
who's in charge of Hamas?
Yeah, and Hamas, all these guys are in charge. They're billionaires and they're people, and they're not really in for the people, And the people negotiating this whole thing should have been other people negotiating, and I think it would have been a lot easier that we had people here, because you're going to have the automatic people going to go against them, because these guys are basically crooks, and they're not people are not listening. I think, and their mentality is them first, not the people first. So that's why the
20-point plan calls for a new board of people to govern.
Right. That's what they have to do, but these guys are not going to give up power easily, because Yahoo, he shouldn't be there in the first place, because he supposed to be in jail. As far as I'm concerned, another guy,
Larry, what were you going to say? Hold on a sec, Don. What's that, Larry?
They signed a piece of paper just 2 days ago that said they were giving up arms. So how are they killing people?
Okay.
I don't get it.
Because they haven't given up their arms. That haven't
No,
gotten
they're
their phase yet.
Maybe we
They're
should
not gonna
call
give
that
them,
out.
I absolutely agree with you but where are all the people who are demanding this ceasefire that now exists? I just saw today somebody was criticized, saying Israel violated the ceasefire because they launched an attack into Lebanon. Nobody in Lebanon or Hezbollah is involved in this peace plan. And we're
Doesn't
not.
make
has
a
absolutely
difference,
nothing to do with
Jeff.
that.
You know that. Nobody
Yeah.
knows where the two of them are. You, me,
That's
and
true,
5
too.
other people.
Yeah.
Michelle, what do you think? Does it just seem kind of silly, or what do you think has to be done? I mean, do you think that Hamas is actually just going to go away?
No, I mean, Hamas is not going to go away. And it's one of those to where, I have faith in our current administration to where they're actually going to stamp them out. They're, going to be like, this is enough. And it's one of those to where, we have proven our strength. We have proven that, we are not to be messed with. We are proven that, we are a power that, the unmatched to anybody else. They don't stand a chance. And I really honestly believe that with regards to this current administration, that they will take action and go in there and obliterate them. I really honestly think that they should.
Well, Jeff, you just said that there's no way in God's green earth that we're going to have troops there. So it'll be up
not
to
the U.S.
It doesn't necessarily have to be
We need the
transition
Arab
as well.
League. That's what the peace plan says. Arab troops.
Okay.
That's the whole 20-point plan that all this is predicated upon. Biden's plan that Trump.
I can't
Trump
wait
co-opted.
to see
All right.
the very first Arab soldier from Saudi Arabia shooting
Oh.
at a Hamas terrorist and actually killing that person.
Wow.
Never happened.
All right. Well, it looks like we
guess
got to take our first break. We're already getting right through it here and starting to learn a little bit. So please subscribe, go on Facebook, go on YouTube, thirdsideconvo.com. And please be part of our conversation. In fact, if you'd like to be on the show and be a panelist, let us know. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call Your Computer Solutions today, and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad, my computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling Your Computer Solutions at 407-826-0810. The Tri-Beer Show would like to thank Boggy Creek Airboat Adventures for being one of our sponsors. I got to go on an airboat and saw a real gator. I even got to go to the gem mine and mine for some gems. We ate a steak dinner at the restaurant and even got some gator bites. If you want to have a blast with the entire family, I suggest you go to www.bcairboats.com right now. Get your tickets today. The website again is bcairboats.com.
Welcome back. I being a CPA by trade, I always like numbers and move them all over the place, use them however you want. But I guess I'm asking, so if we got Vegas odds here, Jeff, what's your Vegas odds on us getting to the 20 points?
Well, we're stalled at number 2.
Yeah.
Until the people who were in the room when they signed the deal send their troops to the region, we're not going to get much further. The Hamas is not going to disarm themselves, and nobody wants Israel to go back in to do it. So the Arab League has already said, or at least Arab nations
Right.
who are more friendly towards Israel than the others have said they'll go in and set
Okay,
up peace.
give me your odds. Give me your odds. What's the odds that this whole thing will be formed and we'll get in there?
-5.
5.
Even money.
Even
I give
money.
it
Not
3.
bad. Not bad. 3%. Michelle, what's yours?
You know what? I'm going to say, for success, I'm going to say 15.
Okay.
What's this?
And Larry's at -5. Larry, why do you feel that way?
Because there's no such thing as an Arab League or Arab nations. From the days of Gamal Abdel Nasser, they've tried and tried and they never agree on anything.
I think what Larry's saying.
Is that what did I do?
I just don't hear what Larry's saying.
Well, that's okay. Well, everybody
Okay.
else can hear them. We can all hear them. When you watch the
Okay.
show, you'll be able to catch it. Don't worry.
No problem.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, it's kind of good.
That's okay.
It's maybe better.
No,
I don't know if I hear what he said, but
there's-
I'm with Larry. I just believe the players in the game are going to have to change for the people to get the trust of
Okay.
get new people in there to negotiate that are honest and everybody else like that, so we can get down to an agreement with the people first, because the people are going to be on sides of the corruption side and the other side, and I think people coming to the table, if they're honest and come from integrity, we got a better shot. But the regular players are going to have to get out of
Well,
there.
the players have changed.
What
Yeah, I'm
show
talking
are
about
we on?
Yahoo, all those guys, get them out of there. Get the leaders that are involved with this thing, get them out the way.
They're just like good as clean swipe,
Yeah, just get them out the way.
Hey, well, hold on.
And-
Well, Jeff actually was fairly positive, thinking it's got an even chance. Why do you think that, Jeff?
Well, if everybody does what they said they will do, and I don't expect Hamas to do what they said they'll do, but if the Arab nations who said they would put together this planning board and send the peacekeepers in, if they do that, then there's a good chance that there'll be a good outcome.
So that's an important
If they
stage.
don't do that,
So you're
yeah.
saying that's
If
we need to see if that actually happens. That's the next big
That has to
stage
happen first,
that
yeah.
we listen, because Don and Michelle, they don't know anything. I mean, they haven't been there as many times as y'all have been there, so we don't know.
Yeah.
We have evidence. that
And
the
like I
Arabs-
said, it's going to have to be the players, because the players that's involved, they're not going to allow stuff to come, because their egos are going to get away as soon as they get a group they like. If they don't like them, they ain't going to let them do it, because their ego's going to get in the way.
It's not about.
I mean, their
ego, it's
history
about
is
staying alive.
their history is going to it shows Yahoo and who they all got
Yahoo?
history of. They can't.
You keep
They can't-
saying that you have yet to tell us who's in charge at Hamas of Hamas.
Yeah, but I'm saying even on my side, I'm talking about even on the other side of it. The leaders that are involved with it, they have to get out of it, because they're not going to be honest, and they haven't been honest. So
You know what? Now, this is one of the things I think that we can all sit there and agree upon, though. I mean, if you want to sit there and have Hamas come back in, there's no way, any way, shape, or form, going to be able to come in as a stronghold that they did before. They're not going to be
No,
able to
they're
go
not.
in and take, all of these hostages and create the tremendous amount of damage that they ever did before. I really honestly don't feel that we will ever see that again. So I don't necessarily know, what position they have on trying to dominate territory, try to dominate terror within these regions, to push the Israelis out and even the additional Palestinians.
They
I don't
have
see that
one
happening.
position. Hamas has one position,
Which
Well,
and
is
it's constant, and it's never changed. Kill the Jews.
This
All right,
is a
I mean,
religious
that's it.
war, people.
I guess that's the hard part about it.
I mean, it wasn't always that way.
For Hamas, it was always that way.
I mean, it wasn't, like I said, that's what we got to get back to. Get away from that. What happened? Get back to the real. You got to get back to what happened. Why are they saying kill all the Jews? Why?
And it doesn't matter.
It goes
though.
And
so
then-
far back.
But it's got to go far
only
back, and
been
I mean, they
around
have
for
to get
over
to that
2,000
point.
years
That's the
now.
only thing you're gonna have for peace. Once you get to that point of for why we're doing this, so you can do the dialogue to get that part. But it's never going to hold, because
There's-
they're going to have that view of kill the Jews.
All right, Larry.
Why you want us dead?
Hey,
There's no
Larry,
dialogue
Larry,
with
give us a
somebody
little,
wants to death.
give us a little history on it, Larry. I mean, is it how long?
The
have they-
Quran specifically says that you find the Jews hiding behind the tree, and then you go get them from behind the tree and kill them.
So there's
And
not much nuance with that. You're saying?
There's no nuance. Fortunately, not the whole world believes that, although it seems sometimes that we are even more of an underdog than we are. The problem is it's religious, and until you figure out how to change or adapt to other people, this is not going to change.
There will only be peace when somebody on the Palestinian side who's a leader shows up and teaches his people that they're going to have to be okay with Jews being their neighbors.
Or somebody comes in and just completely obliterates them. Because at the end of the day, I think that, again, it's dollars and cents. It's a financial gain. The
Wow.
Gaza Strip is a gold mine. You know what I mean? Right for redevelopment, right for, for various different nations to come in, redevelopment, and
It-
no, I mean absolutely, it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like this. Like I said, our current administration.
It still takes.
It's a deal maker, and they're going to be like, listen, it's sometimes it's like when you have when you're on a construction.
But you have to have somebody in charge who will use that money to build something besides tunnels.
Get rid of these gopher turtles, and that's what's going to happen. I mean, through the Arab nations, through
Why is my clock running?
Europe, the United States. These little nasty gopher turtles are going to go. One way or another, they're going to be eliminated.
Well,
You got to get rid of the generations that hate. You cannot. Hate is taught. Hate is not a natural state.
But this
And
is not
until
about
we
hate, though,
change
Al. I
the
mean,
schooling in the Palestinian territories, until they stop teaching their children to hate and that they cannot live next to their neighbors, there won't be any peace.
Well, it's not that. You're not going to be able to teach anybody anything. It's a matter of
Don, who in Israel what Jewish school has a textbook using math?
I'm not saying they have a textbook, but it takes two to tango, bro. That's what I'm saying. It's we got to find out if you're gonna you got to find out what's the problem. You got to get to what the problem. It takes two. It takes two. So what are the Jews going to live with? What are the Hamas going to?
Don let Larry answer that one. Larry answer that one.
In 1993, we started with the Oslo Accords. We've given back territory. Israel has done this. Israel's done that. Gaza was given back. Used to be occupied by Israel. Now it's become a shithole, quite frankly. Not for anybody's particular reason, except all the fighting and all the power grabs, and of course the money grabs. I don't know how to stop that when people do it in the name of religion.
Well,
somebody tell me how you.
Well, they're not doing it in the name. I mean, I don't think they're doing it in the name of religion anymore. I mean, the case is that this land is ours. That's what they say, and if you look at these interviews, I don't know if all you have to do is Google some of this stuff and watch somebody who goes into the West Bank or into Gaza and ask people, "Are you willing to have two states?" And they say, "Absolutely not. We are not willing to have two states. We want it all. It's all ours."
So are there no moderates? Are there? Hey, Jeff.
Israel and ask the same questions. Most people say yes, two states.
Hey, Jeff, are there no? I mean, are you saying that everybody is the same over there, or don't they have their own people in there that can stand up?
A significant majority of people are not interested in living in peace with the Jews next door.
Wow. So why'd they sign it then?
Because they got pressured and they were going to get killed if they didn't sign it. Wow. And now they're still they've got a license to kill more people.
I just don't agree with that, man. I know a lot of Palestinians who are willing to, and Palestinians that are here. I know a lot of them. I know people hanging. They're not Jew haters and stuff like that. It's just there certain groups that are hating, but all of them are not that hate. So that one gives me hope that people do not hate each other as much as we've been prone to say.
Yeah.
And you have to start.
All right,
you gotta start giving.
That's a good place. That's a good. Hold on, we got to stop. We got to stop for a second. We've got to take our next break. And in an Uber discourse, that's why we're hearing these things. That's why, so we can talk about these things. But please go on and subscribe. ThirdSideConvo.com, YouTube, Amazon, Spotify, all these things. Check us out, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Corona Cigar Company is your one-stop shop for all your cigar needs. Whether those new cigars you've been waiting for, a top-of-the-line cutter or lighter, a place to enjoy the finest cigars and spirits with friends, or the only cigars grown right here in the Sunshine State, we've got you covered. Come visit one of our retail locations for the ultimate cigar experience. Visit us online at coronacigar.com.
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
Well, Joe Boy has been in my ear, since we were going to talk about this show, and he wanted to, again, talk about the term from the river to the sea. Jeff, I don't know. Do we have Jeff and Larry both agree on this one? That term possibly is what everybody's saying?
Agree about what? Agree that it means killing all the Jews and taking over the land of Israel. That's what that term means.
That's right. Larry, you agree with that, don't you?
I agree with Jeff, or I agree with that should happen.
No, obviously with Jeff.
We don't agree that should happen.
Thank you.
Listen,
Just not sure when we get into the debate on this show where we're going.
That's what's fun about this, right? It doesn't matter.
Right.
We are learning. I know Michelle's learned a lot today. So what did you get most out of this discussion on this, now that you know something?
You know what, though, me, I just trying to figure out, though, I mean, how do you completely eliminate Hamas? I mean, how do you sit there and go in and say, okay, well, you know what I mean? We came in, we had a negotiated deal. You did not, you know what I mean? You did not stay true to the original confines of the agreement. And so now you have to go. And I mean, in what way or another can we sit there and completely eliminate them out of this equation? That's my 2 cents on all of this. I want, you know what I mean?
You have to start in elementary school.
A possibility of peace, you have to leave, period. Because obviously the Palestinians and the Israelis can live together, but not them.
Got it. You have to start in the schools. Larry, where do we start? How tough will you want to be?
Well, the problem is, I agree with Jeff on where you would have to go to solve it, but we don't have the time to solve it in that length of time. That's a generational thing. Right now, the biggest problem is disarming Hamas, and the people that are still going to cause trouble, where are you going to put them? That's why the initial thing was, let's move people out, clear everything up, and then let the people back in that we can verify. That's why Israel did its war in stages, to do that. But the tunnel system is so extensive that they'll pop up anywhere. It's whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
And unless you have committed, willing troops from Arab nations willing to go into tunnels and fight fellow Arabs, even though they're terrorists, quote unquote, nothing's going to happen there. And that's the stalemate. We don't get past phase 2 at this point.
Yeah, we need Harry Bosch to go in there and go after the tunnels. That's what he did in Vietnam. Donnie, we got an issue is that Hamas, after this deal was even signed, was even celebrating that it's a pause and that they're going to be back stronger than ever. I mean, Donnie, yeah. That's insane.
I couldn't hear what Larry is saying, but I think you said where we should start. I see, like I said, you start with different leaders or different people, where you're going to have to put certain people together, even on our side of this country, like some of the Congress people that are Palestinians and some of that are Jewish people. Put them on the panel with this piece. Get them out, so we can tell the people that we got here, mix them up together. Some Republicans, some Democrats that don't get along, but get them in dialogues and go over there and help out with the people.
Now, Jeff, don't make fun of that. That's part of we do that in the show. Go, Jeff.
Are not going to go live in Gaza. They have no interest in leaving America.
I mean, I'm not living there. I mean, to go over there and negotiate, you don't have to necessarily live there, but you can go and help. You can help bring peace together. They say if they see people being peaceful or working together, it gives hope to other people that can work together. I mean, that's where you start. Yeah. You have to start somewhere.
Aren't even willing to meet with Israelis.
Don, have you been over there?
Meet with Israel.
Right. So
have you ever visited
there? They traveled to the region and they would only visit Palestinian territories. They would not enter Israel, even though they were invited. That's what I'm telling you. What happened? That's a fact of history. Of a couple of years ago, they went to Israel and they refused to go into Israel proper. They only went into Palestinian territories, even despite it being invited to see the rest of Israel. They refused.
Well, I got Jewish friends that go back and forth to Israel all the time, and she and her husband, they don't have that same view. They want to see peace. They have Palestinian friends. We got a couple of Palestinians and Jewish people on the comedy scene, and they seem to be getting along better, like that. I'm just saying there is hope. Yeah. And that's where you got to start from. You got to start from there. You got to start people working together. I mean,
they're not going to sit there and work together. My question is, though, if we were able to sit there and eliminate Hamas, Do you really honestly, I mean, do you think that there is a chance for the Gaza Strip? Do you think that there's chance for peace if Hamas wasn't there?
Yeah.
You're not going to get rid of all the bad that's in the world, but you got to start somewhere,
There's a way to sit there and get rid of Hamas.
Yes.
I mean, we had a magic little pill, and all of a sudden they went up in some little spaceship, you know what I mean, with the little green Martians up in Mars, and there is no Hamas. Do we have peace in the Gaza Strip?
We have a chance.
Palestine
Yes.
and Israelis.
Okay, well,
Yes.
we're going to have to wrap this thing up. I mean, on West Wing, President Bartlett, tried to have a peace, and Leo ended up having a heart attack. I mean, it's been talked about forever. This is something that is so important to everyone, and that's why we're talking about it on Third Side Convo. We just want to learn a little bit more. What is it all about? Because we don't really know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but what we know is we want peace. Not necessarily on the show. Joe Boy never wants peace on the show, but that's a different thing. So please join us again on Third Side Convo and get back with, please jump on. And really, if you want to be on the show and join in us, we'd love to have you. We'll see you again next week on another episode of Third Side Convo.